good.
So we're back with Everything Like That podcast with Dylan and Alex, and we've got a special guest here today, Mr. DJ. And so we've got some questions for you, and we're going to talk to you, and we're happy to have you, man. You're a big story, and you've got a long history, and so we're ready to talk about it. We're ready to dive into it. So
DJ's, I met DJ knocking doors. Door-to-door sales will introduce you to some characters that are not so great sometimes, but on the flip side, you get people like DJ. So I'll let him tell his story for sure, but he owns a painting business in Smyrna, Tennessee, and for sure, if you need anything painted or stained, this is the guy to talk to. So DJ, just to start, you're from Nepal, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so we could just stay right there all day and get all kinds of stories, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But how long have you been in America from Nepal?
8 years. This July 4th.
Okay.
I'll be here 8 years.
So your anniversary of you showing up is also America's birthday. That's pretty patriotic.
Oh yes, I
Very
picked that date to come
very
here.
American.
Yeah.
Yes, and I came through Philadelphia too.
Wow.
That was
Heck
where
yeah.
it was signed, right?
Yeah.
The independence.
They got the bell that broke up there and everything.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. Heck yeah. So when you moved, what was your first job?
When I moved here, my first job was I worked at a hotel downtown, and it was in-room dining.
Mm-hmm.
I was making sure that the hotel was clean, the rooms were clean, the hallways were clean.
And this was in Nashville?
Yes.
Nice.
It's crazy. Probably saw a lot of crazy stuff.
Yes, I met some friends there, some other bellboys. What do you call them? Those guys that help with luggage and all that.
Bellhops.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were character people.
Yeah. Character people.
Yeah, they had some character.
Yeah. I worked at Walmart. There were some crazy characters out there, I'll say that.
I bet, yes.
That's for sure.
Yeah, hotels, downtown Nashville. What time did you work? Was it like morning, afternoon?
Mine
What
was,
it?
yes, I had the day shift.
Mhm.
And the funny thing is that I learned to, I didn't know that I was getting paid by the second.
Gotcha.
So my coworkers would teach me how to just go to the bathroom and just take your time before you clock out,
Right.
just so that I can make a little bit extra.
Yeah.
But now I realize that's wrong.
Yeah.
It's not right.
Yeah. I've had a few things like that. Walmart, I think you could clock out at like, if you got off at 11, you could clock out at 10:51,
Oh,
something like that, and not get in trouble. So that's what we were trying to work the clock as best we could, but it didn't work so well
You
sometimes.
just discriminated yourself. In other words.
I don't care. Walmart stock is doing fine.
So how did you get into painting?
so the hotel was one main reason, because I knew that I didn't want to start a hotel business.
Yeah.
I knew down the road I would not have a hotel, or I can't afford to start a hotel business or a restaurant. So I knew that was not the way to go. So the first 3 months, I had to come out from that hotel. That's when I met Kenny, and he was a painter who needed help, and he wanted someone that wants to learn and do something. And he found me, and I found him, and that was it for the last 5.5 years,
Oh, yeah.
from 2015 to 2020.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I learned and got into painting, and then I just stuck to it.
So does he still have a business, or?
He don't do painting. He does wallpaper. He
Oh,
hangs
gotcha.
wallpaper, but he's done painting.
Oh yeah, it's kind of what happened to me when I took over the business. It was kind of like he wanted someone to take it over. He was doing other stuff. He was doing installs and stuff like that, and so he wanted someone to take over the cleaning part, but nobody wanted it.
Oh.
And so then it was like, all right, I'll learn. Let me do it. And then once I learned, he was like, all right, it's yours. And so it's pretty similar, because it's like most of those guys, if they find something that they're better at and they want to do it and it makes more money, then they're like, I just need someone to take this over, because I don't want my hard work to go to waste. The guy that sold me his business, he did it for 12 years. He didn't want that 12 years of his grinding, his hard work to go to waste.
Yes.
And so he was looking just for one person to go, hey, show enough ambition to take it over. And so that's very similar to what happened to me.
When you first moved here from Nepal, what's like the biggest difference in working over there and working over here?
Working over there was we worked 6 months, and we didn't work 6 months after that. We just used that money to live that 6 months. And by the time the 6 months was over, we had our last dollar left. Then it was time to go to work again. That was the season to go to work again. So you work all that 6 months and you enjoy the rest of the 6 months. But these things are different here. You can't do that.
So y'all were, was it like only daylight 6 months out of the year or something
No,
like that?
it's just the season of the trekking business. Trekking.
Oh.
The mountains. You know,
Gotcha.
you don't go hiking in June, July, August.
And you were a Sherpa, right?
Yes.
Like you, so you're...
Yeah, I was born Sherpa, and that's what I worked. So the word Sherpa, with a capital S, is the ethnic group,
Okay.
people from the Himalayas. Only they get that title with a capital S, Sherpa.
Gotcha.
You could become a Sherpa with a small s, the lowercase s,
Right.
if you want to work in the mountains. So that's a rank. So it's a post. So Alex could be a Sherpa, but you were not born in Nepal to become the real Sherpa. So
Sherpa,
I'm
small
both of them.
letters. Yeah.
There's like a tier list, so we'd be at the
Right.
bottom of the tier.
Yeah.
And those capital letters and lowercase, they have big importance.
Right.
Yeah, you know, when you read it. So
What's the major difference between like a capital letter and a lowercase letter, especially with the Sherpas and stuff?
we are we're the people from the east. That's what Sherpa means.
Okay.
And the little s, or that, you know, anyone can become that. But no, you can't become the big capital S Sherpa. When you look in the Bible, there's so many capital letters and small letters. And
Right.
if you don't know what they mean, there's a reason why there's capital Holy Spirit and there's lowercase Holy Spirit.
Right.
It's not the same thing. And there's a reason why they differentiate them with capital and small.
Gotcha.
So you're working 6 months out of the year. What do you do the other 6 months out of the year?
Just enjoy life.
Enjoy life.
Yes.
Okay. And this is an American question, I think, but how do you enjoy life?
You don't do anything. You know, you got no mortgage to pay, you got no bills to pay because you own everything. And what else do you do? See, you want to enjoy life when you have all those payments, right? Right now, I got all those payments, so I can't really enjoy life because I got to go make those payments. But back there, you didn't have those payments, so
Right.
whatever you made was enough for you to keep you alive for the next 6 months. And enjoying life is just go hang around with friends and, you know, go travel to places you've never been to in Nepal. Go serve or, you know, volunteer.
Yeah.
So many ways to enjoy life.
So we talked about the 6 months you're not working. What are you doing in those 6 months you are working? What were you doing?
Hiking. You're getting paid to hike and climb. I didn't climb, but there are people who climbed Everest
Right.
and other peaks, other mountains. So that was part of the job. And that's when you made the money.
And the people that you're hiking with, they're all tourists, right?
Tourist.
So you're basically a babysitter almost sometimes, right?
Yes, we are. So when I did that for 10 years. So I had some heart surgeons, I had some captains, you know, flying Boeing, all those big planes, but it won't matter who you are back home. Up in the mountains, we are the ones that you have to listen to.
Right.
And if they don't listen to the Sherpas, they're screwed up.
Capital S.
Yes.
You better be
Yes.
listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get
And-
screwed over with capital.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, that's what we
That's
did.
cool.
I got paid to travel. That was a very fun job.
Right.
I got paid to travel.
How many miles a day do you think you walked?
To give you an example, when you do the Everest Base Camp trek, it's like 110 kilometers for the whole trip. So that's like 70 to 80 miles for the whole trip. You don't do that all in one day. You do like 9 to 10 miles a day for the most, and you do 3.5 to 4 for the least.
Right.
But that's every day. So it's a 12 days trek.
And it's like up
Yeah,
and down.
up
It's
and
not
down.
nothing's level.
No.
Yeah.
And it's not just up and it's really up and
Right.
down.
Jeez.
Not like that, up and down.
Right.
Yeah.
What, do people have to do like I hear about people training for going
Yes.
to Mount Everest. Is there
Yes.
like a specific, I don't know, set of things that you ask people to do before they go, or?
Well, if you want to climb Everest, you would have to have climbed several other mountains first.
Okay.
And not just a regular guy trying to go up and climb Everest. You would have to be a hiker you have to know more than basic knowledge about trekking or, you know, all the equipments and all that.
Right.
So I don't think you can ever train anywhere in the world and go to Nepal and train there because that's the altitude you're dealing with. I had a client who was from Italy. He said he's a trail runner, and every day after we're done, he used to put on his fancy suit, or what do you call that? Well, whatever they wear,
Right. Things he was running in?
Yes, and he would go off. And I told him, this is not back home. This is the mountains.
Right.
And not far from that time, up when we were going towards base camp, he was sick, so he never made it to base camp. He had to turn back because he thought he could do the same thing up in the mountains, but it's different up there.
Right.
So if you want to train to climb Everest, I would recommend to be in Nepal and spend the time there.
Right.
So you get used to the altitude.
I'm gonna go in the 6 months y'all are not working. To be honest, does everybody? I'm still stuck on this, but does everybody have the same 6 months off?
Not everybody.
Okay.
Everybody's different. We had that, and I didn't work. I didn't know about 8 to 6 5-hour day jobs.
Mm-hmm.
It was never like that.
Right.
The 6 months was 6 months. You were working 6 months.
Huh.
So that was a new thing when I came to the States. So you clock in at 8 and you don't leave till 4:30. You have to stop for lunch.
Right. You have to stop for lunch. What are you talking
That's
about?
what they told me
Yeah.
at the hotel. You got to take that 30 minutes off.
Right. So that they can check their box of treating you like a human.
Yes.
That's wild.
But I realized that it didn't matter to them if I quit the job. It mattered to the manager, but it didn't matter to whoever owned the hotel.
Right.
Because they don't really care about who's working down there. All they care about is you doing the work, and that's all.
Right.
So when I quit, they got someone for $7 an hour. So I realized that I have to go to a place where I get value,
Right.
and that's what I found, where people respect you for what you do. And even today, sometimes I can sense that people don't care, and they don't care. But some people do care. They care about what you do, and the respect for your trade,
Right.
and that's where I want to be.
And different things are important to different people too. Like you owning a business, some people, their bottom line or how much money they're making is like the most important thing. It has to be most of the time, but for you, what's most important running your business?
To me, what's most important is service.
Okay.
See, I have to give my clients the best service that they're paying for. So before it was money that I was going after, but now it's not. It's about how I can be a great example to all my customers. The way I show up, the way I talk to them, the way I do my job, that's more important than money for me, because that money that I'm working for comes afterwards. But if I put that money ahead, then I'm losing all the other things that I want them to know. The service, the quality.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I had a professor this past semester talk about, like, don't get paid for your time, get paid for your value.
Yes.
And so that was pretty much what you just said. It's like, you can worry about money and that can be what you do, but if you don't do a good quality job, they're not going to call you back.
No.
They're not going to recommend you.
No.
They're not going to push your business for you, because in your business and in my business, it's all about the people. We can push it as much as we want. We can say we're the greatest at what we do, but if we don't have people that back that up,
No.
then there's no use in doing it. And so, and then that's where it comes from. You have to do a good quality job, or your business ever grows.
No.
It'll stay the same and it'll slowly die,
Yes.
because eventually you're gonna run out of people to do a terrible
Exactly.
job for. And so,
And that's what's keeping me busy, is because people want that guy that's an owner operator. Because to me, if I screw up someone's job, which I can sometimes, nobody's perfect,
Right.
but I care about my business, so I have to make sure I do it right, because it's my name and my business. And that's another reason why I don't have a crew, is because to them, they're just getting paid by the hour, so it's not their business. So why would someone care? But there is that one guy who would care.
Right.
Because those are the guys that want to do that thing their whole life. So they're learning, they want to do anything, and that helps.
Whenever you make a decision for your business, you have more to weigh than they do. Like if they're just weighing their hourly paycheck
Yes.
against a decision, it's not that important. But you're weighing your entire family's livelihood and future on your daily decisions. That's respectable. I like that, DJ.
When I worked for Kenny, he taught me that, he made me, not made me feel, but I knew that he had lined up work because I would be there.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't show up for work for 2 days, he's running short on time now. So his clients that's lined up, he has to tell them to wait.
Right.
So I knew I didn't want Kenny to go through all that. So I had some responsibilities. No matter what's going on in my family, I showed up at work because I cared about his business. And that's why I'm here today, and I expect people to do that with me.
Right.
Because that's how it was. And when Kenny texted me the new address for the job, he texted me once, and that was it. I was there. He didn't have to call me 10 times. He didn't have to check on me. See, that was the trust we built, and that's paid off now. Because now every job that I go to my customers, they know when I come and I'll be there. They don't have to call me twice.
Right.
And I've got comments like from my customers saying, DJ, you're only the guy that shows up in time.
Yeah.
So it takes some time to build all those things as a business owner.
Absolutely. And it's hard because it's like I have guys working for me right now that I have to trust and that I have to send out there, and so it is very nerve wracking, especially when I first started. When you send someone out there and you're like, all right, I'm not going to be there today, and so you have to do the same kind of job that I would do, and that's where you get nervous. I get worried half to death all the time about, all right, are they doing a good enough job like how I would do it, and so. That's a big responsibility. You have to find, like, I think I've found a couple of guys that I trust that, kind of like how you were for Kenny, that you care more about his business than you do your own livelihood at points. And so, because he's going to take care of you. And so that's kind of what, I've built with some of my guys. Like, I trust that he's going to do a good job no matter what. And if he has a problem, he's going to call me. He might call me 8 times a day, and I'll answer 8 times and explain stuff to him. But I know that he's doing a good job because he don't want me to get a call about his job because then that embarrasses him or that makes him feel bad. And so I completely understand what you're saying about, my dad taught me that about the guys that he had working for him. Like, some of those guys didn't care. And so then that comes back and it looks bad on my dad. It doesn't look bad on them. It doesn't matter to them because their name's not on it. It's our name. And so that's where it gets a little shaky and stuff. But I completely understand. I completely agree too.
And if you look at those kind of people's life, they've never done anything till today.
Yeah.
Because they never cared. They only cared about them. They didn't have that commitment.
Right.
See, I had to tell Kenny, give me some time off. There was so much work we could do, and I always, no matter if it was like we were working at night today, sure, I'll be there.
Right.
Because now if I have to work at night, I've learned everything about working at night. Had I said I don't want to work at night, I would have not learned all that.
Right.
So all those were opportunities for me to learn because now I've gone through all that. So it's not a surprise for me.
Absolutely.
I like it. Do you think it's possible to teach that feeling that you had? Because without somebody actually wanting to learn, like you,
Yes.
in that example, you want to learn for sure. How do you teach somebody to want to learn? Is that possible?
See, now I think some of them have to be born with it.
Okay.
I don't think you can make someone really do that. They have to do it. They have to change the way they think.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it was about finding God, because for God, I can do so much for Him. So when I know my purpose, the reason for why I'm here, it's about service. I'm here to serve. That's all it is. We're all here to serve. And when I realized that, I've learned that I have to do that. No matter what, I have to help my boss or my customers. And even if I have to be there at 12 at night, I gotta go.
Right.
But for me to learn that, God has played a big role. Otherwise, there was no any motivation for me to wake up at 12 at night and go do something.
Right. I like it.
You know that if you give enough, it'll be given back to you
Yes.
in some type of way.
Yes.
That's what you believe in. That's awesome. And that's what I believe in. I mean, it's if I do, you put in enough work and stuff like that, and you give and you give and you give, you're going to receive in some type of way.
Yes.
And it's not always money. It's in. You have many different blessings that you have in your life that you can say, hey, I gave and gave and gave. Now I receive this. And it might not be noticeable today, but it'll be noticeable tomorrow.
Yes.
And so that's awesome.
And it's learning experience. You may not get anything, but all those hard work that I did, it's paying off now because I've gone through all that.
Right.
Had I chose to start my own business the first 2 years, I would be screwed up now because
Yeah.
I had not learned 10% of the painting business.
Right.
But had I gone after money and said, oh, I could just go start my own business and make all the money, I would not be successful because
Right.
I don't have all the tools, I don't have all the techniques, but I had to spend that many years to learn that trade, and now I'm still learning, but I think I've learned most of the main things that can keep me going now.
Heck yeah. Nice. I mean, painters don't have a very good name. It's like most.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you find a good painter, you have to keep them for as long as you can. I think
Yeah.
that's, from what I understand, if you got a bad painter, you're in a mess.
See, I heard that if you find someone that's working for you, you want to pay them so good that they don't have to go look for another job, and you want them to go and start their own business. That's
Right.
what you're teaching them for.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just teaching them to take benefit from them. You're really teaching them so that they can go out there and start
Right.
their own business.
Mm-hmm.
But you also want to pay them that they don't want to go out there and start their own business.
Right.
So you want to take care of them well.
I'm with you.
Why would someone quit and start their own business? Either they're not making enough money, or there's some reasons.
Greed.
If you pay them good, so that they don't have to go out, and that way they're still with you.
Right.
And that's what I want to go after. If I find someone, I want to take care of them so that he don't have to work extra hours to make that extra money.
I'm with you. That makes sense. Do you have?
Absolutely. Oh, so I have a couple of things here, and I've been
Yes, sir.
asking every guest, what's the best piece of advice you've been given, and what's the worst piece of advice you've been given?
Someone asked me one time, what is success for me? He was surprised when he heard my answer. I said, success is when I found God, and that was it. So there's no any level of success for me now, because that's the main thing one can ever do in life, is to find God. And once he does that, everything that other success is really nothing. But when you look at the world, there's the different kinds of success. But when you look at the spiritual part, finding God, that's the main success. And my advice would be, for everyone, to have God in your life. That would be the best advice I can give, is to have God in your life, because you can do so much, and you can do it so simpler than how we were doing it without God.
Nice.
So essentially, you found your purpose.
Yes,
Yeah.
that
So-
made all the difference.
Yeah. And so your advice is you found your purpose, and that was finding God and stuff like that. That's crazy. That's awesome. So what's the worst piece of advice you've been given?
Oof.
Worst, but I've never thought about the worst. I don't think I can give someone. Oh, you mean worst?
Like someone's told you like don't paint, or what's the worst piece of advice someone's ever given you?
Worst piece of advice someone's given me is to work as hard as you can when you're young, because you can't work when you're old to make that money. To me, that's rubbish. This is the time to enjoy life, not work hard for tomorrow. And that's possible when you have God in your life.
Yeah.
You don't have to work hard for tomorrow. You live one day at a time. So when someone tells me you got to go and make that money right now, that's the worst advice I could ever give anybody, because that's taking away your future from, the future is taking away your time now. That would be a worst advice for me.
It's beautiful.
I like that.
That was perfect.
Jeez.
That's perfect.
You're when I first knocked your door, your wife and your kids were at home, right? Karma, that's your son's name, right?
Karma.
How old is he?
6 now?
6. He as soon as the door opened, he hugged my leg. I was like, oh my goodness. He was like, hey, what's up? And then it was, most kids aren't like that today. They're very scared. But I don't know, your kids are very nice, I'll say
See,
that.
now those kids, they are innocent.
Right.
They only learn hate and bad things when the world is teaching them.
Mm-hmm.
If we teach them good things, they will turn out good. So they have that fresh, empty mind, and that's why me being a dad, I have so much responsibility in teaching them the right thing, because the world will teach them anything. So when we have fellowship at home, we hug everybody, and they are used to that.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody that I talk to, a mom talks to, or someone comes to our door, they don't see anything in front of them.
Right.
All they see is a human being, and they go and hug them.
Mm-hmm.
We've never taught them, don't hug 6-foot guys or
Yeah.
2-foot guy. We've never told them all that.
Right.
Hug is you hug everybody, and that's what they've learned. And we want to raise our kids to love everybody
Right.
and not tell them this is bad person, that's bad. We are the ones teaching them all that.
This is true.
And so, who influenced you to be like that? Like your parents, or did you have someone that influenced you a lot when you were a kid?
My parents, they did a good job. They did the best they could to raise us. And when I look back, I don't blame them. I could blame them, but again, they didn't know the good stuff. Not that they taught me all the wrong stuff, but they did their best to raise me, and I'm thankful. But then when I came to the States, I found something better. So that was what made me become who I am today, and the way I am is going back to God again, because that's the instruction for your life is in the Bible. So that's our instruction there. That's our manual. That's how we should be living life, is from the manual. And that's where it says, love everybody and be kind to everyone. So that would be my influence, the Bible.
I like how you said the Bible is your filter system almost.
Yes.
It's like somebody tells you something, you run it through the Bible real quick. It's your little filter system.
Yes.
If it makes sense, all right. If it doesn't, get away from me.
Yeah, just because we four agree on something does not mean we can make that truth.
Right.
Just because a group of people agrees on something is not the truth. You have to go to God's word, because that's the standard for the truth. And if God says it's true, it's true. If He says it's not true, that's not true. That's for me. Now that don't apply to everybody.
Right.
But to me, that's the standard of the truth for me. So if someone tells me something, I take it through the word, and then I screen it through.
See, if everybody in the world did exactly what you do with stuff, the world would be a whole lot better.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. Because you talked about putting good inside your kids.
Yes.
They're an empty,
Yeah.
memory card. And so what you tell them and how you act and what you tell them to believe in and things like that, that's what they're going to teach their kids.
Exactly.
And so you have to be a strong enough influence, because you're going to send them to school one day. You have to be a strong enough influence to where your word and what you've taught them overlaps what they could be hearing in school or seeing on TV and things like that. And so that's a big thing nowadays that I worry about. Not that I don't have no kids, nor do I have any on the way, but that's one thing I do worry about, because the world gets worse and worse every day. And so, especially where we're from and where we're at right now, it's not getting any better. No. It's not going to get any better. And
but we can make
absolutely.
We can make a change. Sorry to cut you off, but with your basketball, how can you beat your opponent, your other team? How can you beat them?
Yeah.
There's only one way, right? You got to be better than them.
Absolutely.
And that's how you win over them. Same thing, I want to teach my kids to know that good thing, so that when the school or anybody that teaches them something, they are better than that. They already know, they just don't believe in it.
Right.
But they know what the truth is.
Yeah.
So that's with anything. So we have to know, I always teach this to my friends, we set up traps for animals, for birds, I always set traps for our deer back home. But I had to make that trap so good that the deer would not see it. If he sees that there's a trap, he's never coming in there. But I had to conceal it, I had to hide it, so that he has no idea there's a trap. That's how he falls in that trap. So in this world, there are so many traps. If we are not good, if we don't see that trap when it's concealed, we fall into that trap. And the only way to get better is to have God in your life and to do the word that makes you better than the trap. That you can tell there's a trap without even looking at it.
Absolutely.
I like it.
Absolutely.
What you said that your business is filled up for the rest of the year. Is that right?
Yes.
As far as business?
Yes.
Well, what
Not just one, I could tell next 5 years.
for the next 5 years?
Because God provides.
I'm with you. Hypothetically speaking, anybody listening to this podcast,
Yes.
if they wanted to use you for a painter, what's like your what service do you provide the most? Just painting inside, outside?
Yes,
What?
inside, mostly inside. But if it's painting, I can really paint anything, on anything that can be painted.
Right. I like it.
So,
Wow, I need a business card, or you need a business card that says that. That's wild.
I have a website, and it tells a lot about me, and and I like the idea how, I don't know if Alex used that in your business, but me being a customer, if United send me someone to fix my internet, if I knew who's coming, if it's only my wife at home or my daughter, and I know who's coming, and not just a random guy.
Right.
If I knew something about that guy, that gives me peace.
For sure.
Okay. So when I go to people's home, they can look into my website and say, "Oh, DJ from Nepal. That's interesting." So I thought people might like that.
Yeah.
They know at least something about
Right.
me before I get
Yeah.
there, so they know who to expect.
For sure.
Not a 10-foot guy or someone down there that's short. So they know who's coming, and that has helped me a lot.
Yeah, I have a bio on mine too.
Yes.
Kind of run down where I'm from, who I am, and
Yes.
stuff like that. And so if you want to know about me, you just go in there and you click. Yeah, I think it's on tab. It says the owner or something. Something weird.
About me, yes.
Yeah, about me or something like that. You click on it and it shows you a picture of me and gives you a rundown and stuff like that.
It builds trust too,
Yeah,
to give
absolutely.
them a heads up.
For sure. Well, heck yeah. Well, if it's alright, I'll link your website in the YouTube description. And yeah, you got any other questions?
I keep thinking about this quote the whole time you've been talking, and when you were talking about putting good inside your kids and things like that, I kept thinking. I saw this thing the other day. It was like, "Don't be a nice guy, be a good man," and you're like the definition of being a good man. Because a nice guy will do whatever.
Yeah.
He'll follow people wherever, good, bad,
Yes.
doesn't matter. But a good man has morals and has values, and you're the poster child for that kind of stuff. You have your morals. All you've said the entire time is believe in God, follow God, and that's what the world's missing. Is people
Yes.
like you. And so I really do appreciate it, and I know he's been talking about you a lot, and we haven't got to sit down and talk like this, but that's the quote that keeps running through my mind is don't be a nice guy, be a good man. And so.
And I appreciate it, being here, and thanks for
Yeah.
getting me here to share
Yeah.
what I know. And like I said, everything that you do out there, people have eyes and they're watching you, so you have to make sure you do it right, because you are setting an example, kids or older people, anybody. So when we know that it says in the Bible, you do not work for any man, because your boss is God.
Mm-hmm.
So my boss may not see what I have done, the customer may not see what I have done, but I know that God knows what I have done.
Right.
So that keeps me doing good work.
You're answering.
Because, yeah, God knows if I make a mistake and if I hide it. God knows everything.
Right.
So I want to please God. I want to serve God. When I serve God, all my customers get served the right way.
You're answering to a higher authority than the Karen
Yes.
who's unhappy.
Yes.
I'm with you. I like it. Well, shoot. Alex hit the nail on the head with that quote there. I ain't gonna
Yes.
lie. That's good stuff.
Be the good man.
Heck yeah. DJ, we appreciate you
Thank
being
you.
on for sure. And heck yeah. Guess we'll see everybody next time.
Absolutely. We'll see y'all next time. We appreciate you, man. I
Yes,
really
sir.
do. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Thank you.